नमस्ते शारदे देवी सरस्वतीमतीप्रदे वसत्वं मम जिह्वाग्रे सर्वविद्याप्रदा भव.
Namaskar, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, everyone. Yes, it is not a slip of tongue, but I mean it as we have participants and viewers not only from India but from all over the world. As such, as per their respective times, I wished good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. I am Anil Deshpande from Kolkata, India, one of your co hosts for today's Poet Meet. The other host being Miss Varsha Halbe from Texas, USA. And we also have Mr. Milind Pagare from Nashik, India, to provide us the technical support or the logistic support for today's Poet Meet. Our introduction we will give at appropriate time, but let me first introduce you. Mr. Milind Pagare is an individual working on the plastic awareness. After working for so many years in India and abroad, since 1976 in the field of heavy refinery plant machineries, maintenance, bulk chemical logistics, and their commissioning. He has conducted over 800 plastic awareness programs across Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, Uttarakhand, Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, meetings, government and private sector offices, and so on and so forth. He has therefore been awarded by a prestigious Kirloskar Vasundhara Mitra Award 2019. And he is going to give us the technical support. So we welcome Mr. Milind Pagare. One important most thing is that in his life, he has been practicing a bare minimum use of plastic and striving to attain plastic-free life but not impossible. All the best for your endeavor, sir. Friends, this is our second online SaKaVya poet meet. This meet is the one which was conducted, the first one was conducted on 23rd April 2021. And after a gap of almost one and a half year or so, we are having this second meet. So without any further delay, let us start our today's meet. But before that, as our tradition, we should first have a chairperson for the meet. Friends, since the decision was taken to hold this poet meet, the only name that stuck to my mind was none other than Mr. Panduranga Kulkarni to chair this meet today. So, on behalf of all of you, I will request Mr. Pandurang Kulkarni to please chair today's poet meet and to grace this function. Mr. Pandurangji, please accept our request. A round of applause.
I
Thank
second.
you.
Now, thank you so much. Obviously, I'll now introduce Mr. Pandurang Kulkarni, give a brief information about him. Mr. Pandurang was Vasanta Kulkarni, an industrialist and ex-chairman and managing director of so many companies like PVK Technologies Private Limited Nashik, PVK Technologies Nashik, PVK Enterprises Nashik, and so on. But he has taken retirement from all the above business houses now and has fully devoted himself towards literature, art, personality development, etc. Out of his sheer interest in poetry, tours, social work, literature, art, and personality development as well. He has been awarded with some great awards or puraskars. But before that, let me also tell that he, to his credit, has two books published till date: a poetry book, Kshitijavarche Shabda Sandane in the Marathi, and an e-poetry book by the name Guza Maniche, again in Marathi. As I was telling, he has been awarded with the state level Kavya Puraskar and Nakshatra Kavya Ratna Puraskar. He acts as examiner, observer, and guide to so many events. He has taken so many interviews, performed poetry recitals, and programs on the radio stations. And he is president and a member of directors on many of the various NGO social organizations. Most importantly, he is the founder president of SaKaVya, the Sahitya Kala Vyakti Vikas Manch Nashik, the very munch on which platform today we are having this poet meet. So once again, welcome you, Mr. Pandurang Kulkarni. Welcome. Now, as we already have the chairman for the meet in position, and we have already prayed Goddess Saraswati in the very beginning, without much waste of time, let us directly start with the presentation in the today's poet meet. And for that, let us begin the presentation with Anjali Patwardhan's poem. But unfortunately, she is unable to attend today's meet, and hence I request today's co-host Varsha Halbeji to please present Anjali's poem. Anjali is presently residing in Pune and has a working experience in travel and teaching. She had begun writing poetry right from her school days, and till date, she has two poetry collections to her credit, namely Unfrozen Wings and A Moment Without Dimension. Her today's poem is entitled Complementing Each Other, presented by Varsha Halbe. Varsha.
Thank you, Anilji. Complementing Each Other by Anjali Patwardhan. You are the muse and I the painter. You are the palette and I the paintbrush. You are the song, me the singer. You are the music and I the notes. You are the dance and me the dancer. I am the thunderstorm, you the silver lining. I am the rough seas, you calm waters. I am the ocean and you the waves. You are the rising sun and me the sunsets. You the full moon and me moonless nights. Complementing each other as day is to night, and everything in between that is beautiful and bright. We wake up every morning to a dazzling sunrise and paint each day this canvas called life. Thank you. I think that was a wonderful poem. Our, our
Yeah.
next, it is indeed life that inspires poetry. So, our second poet for the day is Amruta Ganu Kelkar from Kalyan. She is a naturopathy doctor by profession and has recently delved into writing English poetry. Her poem is about each one's prayer to have strength to lead this life. Amritaji, please present your poem.
Yes, my poem is Life of a Dart. I won't bleed, my dear. I won't bleed, my dear. Just shoot the arrow. I have no fear, no emotions. I am far away from any sorrow. There's a deeper wound every time. Many more bullseyes would come. Oh, my master, mend me strong. You have a velvet, spare me some. I have to look vivacious, my dear. Stab me in the heart that I need. Each arrow has to be sharp. I assure you, fellow, it won't bleed, it won't bleed.
Thank you, Amrita ji. But in between, you were not laudable, or you are not audible, sorry. Uh, but nevertheless, we will share this poem on our group so that others also can read it. It was a nice poem. Our next participant in the today's event is Mr. Saksham Sarode. Saksham means capable, competent, efficient, and Saksham, in his own words, likes to read a lot and scribble a little. He usually writes Hindi and Marathi poems, but occasionally writes poems in English as well. In today's poem, he talks about his own identity the gist of each one's existence, Saksham, and it reminds me of what is there in the name by William Shakespeare. I invite Mr. Saksham Sarode to present his poem. Saksham ji, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Anilji. So, yes, what's in the name? That which we call a rose will smell as sweet by any other name. That's what Mr. William Shakespeare wrote in one of his most famous tragedies, Romeo and Juliet. Well, he does have a point there, but there is something that I would like to say in response, and that's about this poem is all about. It's titled Saksham. Why would anyone name their son Saksham? Why would anyone name their son Saksham? Such names ruins the childhood, leaving long-lasting scars. But two men never realized this. One, Mr. William Shakespeare, and the other is my father. It wasn't that bad initially. While my days were spent concealing braces, the world was still struggling to pronounce my name. So it gave me a new name instead. A shame shame, followed by a giggle. It didn't mean anything. It didn't mean anything, and yet felt like me. Puberty brought pimples and a new nickname. I still remember the voice that yelled, "Hey, Sexam!" The entire class burst into laughter. Laughter so hard that it echoes still today. They kept chanting that word as if to vindicate their newly found hormones. The rest of my schooling life I spent stripped of all dignity. And I learned a thing about embarrassment that it doesn't kill you, it just makes you wish that it would. But a hint of mustache, when it came, also brought a new sense of perception. A hint of mustache also brought a new sense of perception that there were bigger things to worry about than stupid nicknames. Or so I thought. The very first day in the university, my professor had a nasty slip of tongue. And for the rest of the graduation, I became Saksam. Only this time, I didn't feel anything numbness or resilience. I didn't know. I started avoiding the college canteen for the college library. Books embraced me warmly every time the world ridiculed me. Books also explained me the meaning of my name. Saksham meant capable. Saksham meant competent, efficient. Saksham soon became a voice in my head, and eventually I learned to respond to it. Yes, Saksham, I thought, that's me. My name became my war cry and my victory song, my attitude and my arrogance, my shell and my shine. My name became me, and I became my name. At an interview table for my first ever job, when asked for my introduction, I heard myself respond, I am Saksham, and that is my name too. Thank you so much.
Great.
That was a very heartfelt pouring, I think. It came straight from the heart. Very nice. So once your identity is established, come other vices, if you may call them so. One main one being food. Our next participant, Shraddha Singh, is going to recite her poem based on food. Shraddha has an MBA in international business. She says she is an amateur poet and also a YouTuber for kids' education. Shraddha, please present your poem.
Okay, let me try.
Yeah.
Uh, the title of her poem is Bon Appetit. Went to the restaurant first time ever, looking at the pocket as wise and clever. Entered the aisle, walked like a king. He asked me then, would you like to have anything? Pointing to the table, I smiled and looked. He pushed the chair and said, that table is booked. Not so happy, got the place in a corner, sat down blank face with nobody partner. Menu card was thick, list was long, reading one by one, busy crowd along. Water is plain, mineral, hot and cold, questions in series, polite and bold. So much hunger, so impatient hurry, ordered number 4, simple rice and curry. Getting food on table, no waiting anymore, order takes 15 minutes to be placed before. At last came the food steaming hot right. At last came the food steaming hot right. He served and said, Ma'am, bon appetit. Man, bon appetit. Thank you, Anabia. With that, in fact, listening that, see, I am also getting like I should eat something right now. But let us first go through with the poet meet today. So our next poet in the today's poet meet is Mr. Pankaj Kumar Thombre. Mr. Pankaj Kumar Thomre is
Yes,
from
sir.
a remote place. Yeah, Mr. Pankaj Kumar
Yes.
is from a
Hmm.
remote place in Maharashtra, Kondoli, Washing. He holds a master's degree in English literature and a BA degree as well. He works as a teacher in a government school in Washim district, and his today's poem talks about a common occurrence in life, that is deceit, deceit by a friend. So I welcome Mr. Pankaj Kumar Thomre to present his poem.
Thank you, sir. My poem's name is My Best Friend. Why did you knife me in the back, my friend? Why did you knife me in the back, my friend? Why did you play the wrong game with me? You were the captain. Why? How the ship drawn? My whole city drawn asleep, my friend. You were my best companion when I when I was alone. Then how could you be in my enemies, my friend? You went deep into my heart's ocean, and knowing my price, you put me up for auction, my friend. You should have demanded my life. Friendship is still bigger than life, my friend. When I knew you were the killer, I decided to die. It's not my habit to harm a friend, my friend. I worshipped you like a god every day, but you can't understand my devotion, my friend. I have no choice. Therefore, I am dying. I have no choice. Therefore, I am dying. I always follow the terms of friendship, my friend. I always follow the terms of friendship. Come, visit me at the crematorium. Last time, show me your fake look, my friend. Show me your fake look, my friend. Thank you, all of you.
That was very, very intense. And that's why they say choose wisely and let go if you can,
Yes,
you
yes.
know. But our next participant today is Tanuja Pradhan from South Carolina, USA. And she is going to present her poem entitled Ever Since, which talks about another baffling highlight of life, separation. Tanuja has an MA in clinical psychology and counseling. She hails from the epicenter of education, which is Pune. Okay, no biases there, and has many prizes and publications to her credit. Tanuja, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Varsha. Thank you so much, Anilji, for giving me a chance here. And I'll get to my poem. The poem is titled Ever Since. Ever since you went away, like a bobbing boat in an ocean, my life has been rough. Ever since you went away, like a bobbing boat in an ocean, my life has been rough. Surviving through storms, trying to see if I'm tough. Ever since you went away, I've been completely lost, haplessly rowing the boat. Ever since you went away, I've been completely lost, haplessly rowing the boat. The storm's wearing me down. I'm desperately trying to float. Ever since you went away, I've been trying to live and life's come to a standstill. Ever since you went away, I've been trying to live and life's come to a standstill. I often sit trying to see you, reading by the windowsill. Ever since you went away, sometimes there's a lull, the ocean at times peaceful. Ever since you went away, sometimes there is a lull, the ocean at times peaceful. At such times I remember your beautiful face cheerful. Ever since you went away, every day the sun rises and I arise with the hope in my heart. Ever since you went away, every day the sun rises and I arise with a hope in my heart. Somewhere you must be watching me holding on to you to play my part. Ever since you went away, the boat is pretty devastated, for it's been a long journey through. Ever since you went away, the boat is pretty devastated, for it's been a long journey through. All I hope is it lasts till one day I come sailing on the waters to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanujaji, for the wonderful poem. Friends, for your information, Tanuja Pradhanji is also heading the SaKaVya Paradeshi Samuha group. Now, coming to our next participant, she is a very young, dynamic Disha Tasgaonkar, once again from Pune. Pune, where rivers may not have water in them, but poetry is deeply submerged in Pune's water. Disha is a BA in English literature, is a voracious reader and aspiring novelist. Her debut poetry collection, Lost in Labyrinth Love, was published last year in 2021, and now she is working on her second book. Disha's today's poem talks about being born a female, an evergreen topic of contention and struggle. The title of her poem is Hush, My Little Girl. Dishaji, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Please,
Uh,
welcome.
Greetings, everyone, and thank you so much, Anil sir and Varsha ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to perform amid such distinguished poets. And this poem is written on female infanticide, and it is written from a mother's perspective. It is titled as Hush, My Little Girl. The day I knew you were coming, my heart leaped with joy, making a mental blueprint of how I would raise you. I knew I was sure to cry. Soft, cuddly toys and dolls galore, you will be environed by all within your tinsy wincy reach. For I would leave no stone unturned to bestow you the things that I was once perpetually denied. From morning sickness, contractions to twinging ligaments, the days rolled by. I happily endured it all with my unremitting smile. Just the thought of seeing your sight of your moon shaped divine face sent me into a frenzy of inexplicable felicity, making every flutter of your kick in zillion manifolds worthwhile. But little did I know there was a storm brewing on the other side of the spectrum. Regressive mindsets, nefarious gazes, invective tongues had come into fore to zap my spirit. The paranoia in me had devoured all hope. The anticipated kicks from the inside began to emerge from the outside. The prayers I uttered for your good health and wellness started to turn into orisons for saving your life. I was turned into a mere silent spectator, feeling incapacitated against the powerful voices that silenced my hushed cries for please. Slowly, the hands strangled your ragged breath, and your cries began to fade into tenebrous mute. Those last vestiges of tears streamed down my cheeks to openly speak of its defeat. But not a single salty teardrop added moisture to their stony, inhumane hearts. I didn't see your little corpse with the eyes that had always envisaged you in the fortune's throne. Now I sit here static as days and nights incessantly roll by. Tell me, how do I apologize for the brunt you bore? My life's deepest yearnings had shriveled into ashes. The hand that I had imagined to wipe all my life's tears had wiped my tears altogether. For my eyes have no more tears to offer, nor do these barbarous hearts have an emollient to proffer.
That was indeed a very sensitive poem and very much in keeping with, you all must have heard in the US that Wade and Roe was overturned yesterday. And it's terrible that the state has the power to, a woman's right to keep her baby or not. It's terrible. I mean, everyone is in shock here. It's like, okay, the next poem, To Be or Not to Be. I'm talking about the opening phrase of a soliloquy by Prince Hamlet in William Shakespeare's play Hamlet. But coincidentally, it is also the title of our next poetess, Shruti Desai Raje from Alibag. Shruti has a BA in English and Marathi literature and an MA in English. She's a gold medalist. Presently, she's the director of the King's English Academy and Training Consultancy in Alibag. She's engaged in the HR training of government and private employees. She writes in English, Hindi, Urdu, and Sanskrit and has a special interest in translation of original works from one language into the other. She, in her poem says that to be or not to be is a topic for public debate in her case. Shruti ji, please carry on.
Thank you, Varsha ji. I'm very happy to be here among all of you, and thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to present my poem. As Varsha ji has said, the title of my poem is To Be or Not to Be. I would state one thing, that the poem was written on the plight of Aruna Shanbhag. All of we, all of us are conversant with the case. All of us know what the case was, and a movie is coming shortly on her life. So this poem was written way back in 2009. To be or not to be. Once upon a time, I used to live. Once upon a time, I used to live. Even today, I'm not dead. Even today, I'm not dead. I'm still living, though the life is still. I'm still living, though the life is still. Before 7 and 30 years, someone said she should not live. Before 7 and 30 years, someone said she should not live. But I did not die. But I did not die. After 7 and 30 years, people discuss whether I should live. After 7 and 30 years, people discuss whether I should live. But they won't let me die. For 7 and 30 years, I have eyes and ears and tongue. For 7 and 30 years, I have eyes and ears and tongue. But I do not see. I do not listen. I do not speak. For Hamlet, to be or not to be was a personal dilemma. For Hamlet, to be or not to be was a personal dilemma. In my case, it is a topic for public debate on euthanasia. For me, there's not to make reply, there's not to reason why, there's but to live and die. So I continue to live, and every moment I die. Every moment I die. Thank you.
Friends, one after the other, we have had poems in line. And with that, another 8 poems in line. And with that, we have now come to the second last presentation of today's poet meet. And the poetess is Mahima Pahwa from Pune. Her introduction itself is very poetic as she writes, I need words that reflect every shade of me, usually comforted around grey genres. Her poem is entitled Wildflower and weaves around romance. My Wildflower by Mahima Pahwa. Mahima ji, the platform is yours.
Hello, everyone. So I'll start with my poem. My wildflower. I wedged my cold feet under him, but he seemed to be okay with it. That's when I knew he liked my touch. The cold skin kept us close as the warmth of his felt like love. All the overthinking parameters vanished when his warm breath slowly poured on my neck. I was familiar with every scent of his. I wanted to capture every moment I painted with him in my head. I let us attain all those forgotten smiles that we longed for quite a while. I trespassed his side of the bed, but he seemed to be comfortable with it. That's when I knew it was all good. When the tremors chased me, I knew for the first time I did not have to worry. He was closely pressed up against me to endow me with solace. He made sure for me to feel that security of being his girl all the time by kissing my forehead even when things were good. He guided me through the muddled nightmares and the cracks that interrupted my restless nights. And that's when I knew he was my wildflower. Thank you.
Lovely poem, Mahima. Romance, probably the most intangible emotion in life, right? And then the last participant for today's meet is S.K. Murugan from Mumbai, whose native place is Tamil Nadu. He works as a technical officer at the Nehru Science Center, Mumbai, and started writing poems since the COVID times. So some of us did have some magical moments during this unfortunate pandemic that we had, right? And in childhood, Muruganji was called Vikat Kavi by his grandmother. The word Vikata Kavi is a palindrome in itself, and his today's poem is titled Hope. Ummeed pe duniya kayam hai, right? Muruganji, please go ahead.
Uh, thank you, Joe. Thank you, all of you. My poem title is Hope, and I am actually, you can call me a toddler, a very young baby in this arena. I never knew I can write all these things. Somehow I started. My poem title actually is Hope. Okay. I hope this gives you the required hope. Hope is the only hope to hope for that can give us a real hope even in hopeless situations. In your life, whatever you hope to have hope on hope that hopefully you will have it one day. Without hope, you cannot hope to have anything hopefully. Whenever a new life is born, or whenever a new flower blossoms, that's the hope that Creator still has hopes on us. Even without seeing, a mother carries a baby in her womb for 9 months. Kids have hope that a lovely baby will come, and that gives all the hope to her. When we doze off for the day, it's with the hope that we will hopefully wake up for another day, and that's the real hope to hope for. Whatever, never ever lose hope. Hopefully, I hope you understand, and with full hope, keep the hope forever. In life, if you to carry only one thing, then hopefully let it be the hope. If you don't have hope, if you don't have hope, then don't ever hope to have anything that hope can give you hopefully, and it will be a hopeless note. If you believe better things lies ahead, from here on we will live happily. From now on we will be peaceful, and we will be always healthy, and believe better days are ahead. All our hopes, and let our hope be better than all our fears and stronger than our suspicion. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Muruganji.
Thank you.
Varshaji, while introducing Muruganji, told that he used to be called as Wicket Kavi by his grandmother. The meaning that I found about Wicket is that creating multiple meanings to laugh, to make others laugh, something of that. So, hope. Muruganji, we also hope that you will continue to share your poems on the group as well as continue to participate in the forthcoming poet meets like this, and we welcome you for that.
Thank you very much. I'm indebted to you because you brought me to this group, and you encouraged me, and some other members also continuously encouraging me. That is forcing me to write. Forcing me means it is motivating me, especially Tanuja madam. Frequently she appreciates. Then I think I
Yes,
have to write something new. So I have to personally
yes,
thank
yes.
Tanuja madam and others also.
Yeah, yeah. You will definitely write something new, and maybe without picture as you are wanting to do.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Friends, with that, we come to the end of the presentation by the 10 participants, the great poetesses in today's poet meet. So we now will have to go to the presidential speech. But before that, I won't let Varsha Halveji without presenting her poem. Varsha ji, I will invite you to present your poem. But before that, let me introduce her briefly. Varsha
Brief is
Halveji
important.
from Houston, Texas. She is architect and a landscape architect by profession. She loves to sing Indian classical vocal music, has been writing poetry in English, Hindi, and Marathi since childhood. Poetry collections to her credit are Dil Kahe Mera Mujhse in Hindi, and the pictures full of sun on the shoulder, which is a Marathi to English translation of Dr. Anuja Joshi's poems. She has participated in many programs like Amruta Huni Goda, a tribute to Manik Vermaji, Komal Rishabhache Dede, based on classical music. She has conducted many musical programs in Maharashtra circles at Houston, Austin, London, etc. During the COVID period, she participated in online classes, music concerts organized by Vivan Surya Academy, Classical Viewers, Swar Dharohar, and so many other organizers. An important thing is she won Best Online Poetry Award in 2019, hosted by Pune's Karam Pratishthan. An award from a Pune organization is something worth to be praised. Congratulations. As I said, she resides in Houston, and I now will invite her to present her poem. Varsha Halbeji, please.
Thank you, Anilji. My poem is entitled Power. Do my eyes have the power to look at a passing hillside and make it travel in time to another place I call mine, where strangers sit on the cliff by the road that takes me home to that small cozy abode where palatable aromas waft through the kitchen side? Do my ears have the power to gather those wise words that poured from mouths of elders and their loving shade bliss smothered? Do my words have the power to transform the now to the then of fond memories that poignant lessons carries? Does my touch have the power to unconditionally love and heal, to nurture a memory and mindfully feel, to make a stone imbibe the art of an unfurling onion that reveals? Do I have the power to inculcate a sixth sense beyond the five, to seek an entire universe within me that stimulates and thrives? Thank you. With that,
Thank you, Vashaji, for that nice poem. Thank you very much. But we would love to listen to your singing sometime.
sure.
Let's see when we can do that.
With that, I would like to invite Anilji to present his poem. But before that, let me introduce Anil Deshpande ji to you. He presently resides in Kolkata on account of his job. He's basically from Mumbai, which is not very far away from Pune. No, I'm just kidding. Anil, an electrical engineer by profession, he's an electrical engineer by profession, started writing poems in Marathi and Hindi from his polytechnic days, and later on in English as well. Many of his poems are published in magazines, periodicals, and Diwali specials, and are also on poetry.com, which is a very vital portal for poetry, and a very popular one out of which on the internet is his poem titled Salutation to the Father of the Nation. In his own words, since he writes Swanta Sukhaya, he has not published any book as yet, but his poems have won or bagged awards in various competitions. He is highly impressed by J. Krishnamurti's writings, and of course, they are reflected in his own writing. And today, he is going to present a poem entitled Life Ahead. Go ahead, Anilji. Thank you.
Thank you, Vashaji, for the nice introduction. Uh, the title of my poem is Life Ahead. Life Ahead. Where the mind is without fear, education springs only there. Follows by itself the intelligence, let not occur any negligence. In understanding problem, crisis or pain, keeping away confusion, conflict or sin, hate, grudge, comparison, envy and greed. Hate, grudge, comparison, envy and greed, better avoid and sow love seed. Removing fear with the M of education. Removing fear with the M of education, not just info taking, exam and competition. Instilling listening and spirit of inquiry. Instilling listening and spirit of inquiry, everyone is unique by this theory. Creativity, sensitivity, character is thus built. To deal with the life is the result yield. I, me, mine is a detrimental pride. I, me, mine is a detrimental pride. Lust, longing, ambition, never on them stride. Remove the patina of wistful me. Remove the patina of wistful me and discover inner you, and so is he. Discover inner you, so is he. Thank you so much. Yes. With that, we even concluded presentation by the co-anchors, Varshaji and myself. So now it's time for really concluding today's Poet Meet. But before that, we would certainly like to hear today's chairperson, Mr. Pandurang Kulkarni, his views, his comments, and his advices, if any. And if interested, he may also present his or someone else's poem that he may like to present today. So I request Mr. Pandurang Kulkarni ji to give his presidential speech. Please. Pandurang ji.
Namaste, namaskar, SaKaVya, namaskar. I really liked this episode very much. It was interesting. It was heart touching because of the content of the poems. Some poems were so beautiful, so heart touching, some were enjoyable, some were with some principles, like My Friend, or just now Mr. Anil Deshpande's poem. It was related to some ethics or some principle of life. Like his poem tells us about the education, characteristic, character building, and afterwards it turned towards the spiritual thing. So such type of things, the content of each and every poem was of various nature. It was interesting to hear each and every poem. In fact, we poets have a responsibility to boost the moral of the mankind, to give some guidelines, to give some awareness to each and every audience or readers of our poems. So, in that way, all about 10 or 12 poems were really fantastic, worth hearing, worth reading, worth following. Even Mr. Thomre's poem I liked, My Best Friend. It was based on the principle how the friend should be. If he is taking some mistakes, everything he is doing, but principally the designation a friend, how it should be, that essence of the poem is really universal. I liked it very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All the poems were really beautiful, fantastic. The content was really good. Instead of playing with the words, we should play with the ethics or morals of the things. So, because that is a responsibility of poets to have some awareness in the society. Our poems should be a weapon to transform the society from bad to good, from good to better, from better to best. So that is our responsibility. The poems on event or on person are okay as a poem, but the content should be universal. Basically, it should be based on the principles. It should become a weapon to transform the individuals from bad to good. So that type of things we observed in almost all the poems. It was really fantastic. It was second trial of English poet meet, and I think it is the best thing I have observed. And let me announce here with that we will continue the poet meet monthly in future. That will be better, I think. The efforts done by Mr. Anil Deshpande and even even
Varsha.
co-host. It was a beautiful thing. And the support, technical support by Milind Pagare, it was also good. So, in all, in totality, the program, this episode was good. I liked it. I appreciate all of you. And this SaKaVya aim, motto, to develop the personality, that is Vyaktitva Vikas, through literature and poetry. So that we are nearing to that. Now the development of quality of poems will develop, I think, and in future it will be useful as a personality development. It should become a tool as personality development, and Thanks to all participants, all viewers, all technical supporters and hosts, and thanks to all. And with these some words, I come to the end. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pandurangji. On behalf of all participants and the listeners, I thank you once again. Now, friends, to conclude the meet, I would like to invite Varsha Halbeji to propose as a formality a vote of thanks. But before that, let me thank her for the untiring support that she gave to me in co-hosting this poet meet today. Her efforts in lining up the poems in the sequence and also in jointly working out the narrations in between. You must also have come to know that on listening all these poems that a theme merged out of all this poem was the life, and she helped a lot in sequencing out all these poems. So beforehand, I thank you very much, Varsha Albeji, and hand over to you for
My
proposing
pleasure.
a vote of thanks. Varsha.
Thank you, Anilji. This was a very enjoyable performance. I would like to thank SaKaVya once again for conducting these poetry meets every so often. I think all of us need some impetus to keep us going forward in the right direction. And I think SaKaVya is playing an important role in this. So I would like to thank Pandurangji for chairing this poetry meet, Anilji for hosting it along with me, Milind Pagareji for the technical support, and all you wonderful participants who presented your art so well. And we really look forward to meeting all of you again very soon. And with that, I'd like to wish you all a good rest of the day. My morning is just beginning, so I hope I have a good one too. Thank you all.